students, welcome to Super Grads, and I am your English mentor, Sana Mam. And I welcome you to my last verbal ability session in this series, Hacks to Solve IPMAT Questions. So, yes, in my previous three sessions, I discussed about different topics, okay, and what can be the strategies, the unique hacks or techniques in which you can crack the questions with high accuracy at the same time with a lot of ease. So I'm sure that you've benefited from those sessions. If you've not checked them out, do check them out as soon as possible because I don't want you to miss out on anything good. Right? And so today, what we are doing again, I'm here with some amazing, very on point techniques, some cutting edge techniques, I would say, which will help you, which will definitely guarantee that you maximize your attempts. In less time, you would be able to solve the question and that too correctly. That's my word. ठीक है, so stay tuned. सो आज क्या करने वाले हैं आई एम श्योर आप सोच रहे हो आज क्या करने वाले हैं पिछले सेशन में आई हैड डन टू इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग्स वन वाज पैरा कंप्लीशन and the other was idioms. Idioms may be when you don't know the exact meaning, how can you guess? All right. And para completion may, yes, some really nice ways of cracking para completion, that too in a short way, in a very, without a very circuitous or lengthy approach. We discuss how we can do it in minimum time and with maximum ease. आज करने वाले हैं स्टूडेंट्स का पेन पॉइंट पैराजम्बल्स पैराजम्बल्स के साथ में आई वुड also be taking up passages, but don't you worry. When we say hacks, when we say techniques, so obviously they are shortcuts which enable us to crack a question in less time and that too with accuracy, as I've repeatedly been saying, right? तो passages में से क्या किया जा सकता है? तो सबसे पहले passage के बारे में बात करते हैं. Now, to my surprise, I've seen that there are many students who are not very good with RCs. Either they take a lot of time reading RCs, or despite investing significant amount of time in reading and solving passages, still their accuracy is not up to the mark. We definitely expect you to be 100% accurate, at least 90% accurate, but that doesn't happen with students. तो करना क्या है? Passage की जो techniques हैं, वो very soon I'll be coming up with a very nice video on that. So I will give you some nice techniques for solving passages exclusively in detail. But अभी उतना detail में नहीं जाएंगे. बस आपको एक चीज बोलनी है, वैसे तो आइडियली आपको पैसेज को पूरा पढ़ना चाहिए, दैट्स द राइट वे, बट देन यू कैन बी स्लाइटली स्मार्ट. तो आप क्या कर सकते हो, कैसा स्मार्ट प्ले कर सकते हो, ये मैं आपको बताऊंगी. समटाइम्स यू डोंट हैव दैट मच टाइम, आपके पास में पैसेज पढ़ने का टाइम नहीं है, यू हैव रन आउट ऑफ टाइम. In that scenario, even without reading the entire passage, there are some question types that you can crack. That's what I'm going to display today through actual PYQs, through the real IPMAT and various allied examinations questions, okay, to showcase how we can be smart, right? और किस तरीके से हम smartly अपने questions crack कर सकते हैं. चलो ठीक है, ट्राई करते हैं. Now ये क्वेश्चन है लेटेस्ट पेपर जो जिपमैट का आया है उससे. जिपमैट 2024 का ये क्वेश्चन. अभी पूरा का पूरा पैसेज आया. अब some students might find it a little scary because it's about literary criticism, it's about poetry, it's about some qualities, it slightly has a philosophical angle to it, and yes, there were some students who felt a little unsettled after reading this one. So I would say, अगर तुम्हारे पास टाइम नहीं बचा है, still there are some questions, particularly the contextual meaning questions that you can try without reading the entire passage. और इस टाइप के क्वेश्चंस को तुम्हें बिल्कुल नहीं छोड़ना चाहिए, क्योंकि ये या तो डायरेक्टली तुम्हें समझ में आ जाएगा या फिर तुम्हें क्या करना है, बिकॉज कॉन्टेक्चुअल मीनिंग है, मतलब पैसेज में कोई एक वर्ड होगा या फिर कोई इडियम भी हो सकता है या फिर पूरा का पूरा कोई सेंटेंस भी हो सकता है, मतलब वर्ड या फ्रेजेस, मतलब ग्रुप ऑफ वर्ड्स, या फिर पूरा का पूरा एक सेंटेंस. उसका मतलब पूछेंगे. वर्ड होगा, उसका सिनोनिम पूछ सकते हैं, उसका एंटोनिम पूछ सकते हैं. तो आपको क्या करना है, यू हैव टू बी, जिसको हम कहते हैं रेडी विद इट, के वर्ड कहाँ है. इवन इफ यू नो द मीनिंग ऑफ द वर्ड, इतना तो आपको होमवर्क करना पड़ेगा कि you have to go to the spot and it'll hardly take a few seconds. You have to locate the word and read a few sentences, 1 or 2 lines above and 1 or 2 lines before, so that you understand the background. ये मैं क्यों बता रही हूँ, ये मैं आपको इसलिए बता रही हूँ बिकॉज व्हेन यू डिसाइड टू लीव अ पैसेज फॉर वट एवर रीजन और मे बी बिकॉज ऑफ paucity of time, you don't have enough time, then you can actually gain a few marks. You can salvage 4 marks by attempting such questions directly. You don't have to read the entire passage for that. अब इतना खतरनाक सा पैसेज है, इसको पढ़ने का मतलब नहीं, सीधे आप ये क्वेश्चन देखो, which word in the passage is close in meaning to being logical and true. सिंपल सी बात है. So even without reading the entire passage, you can understand out of the words given here that inquiry would not fit in. Because inquiry में हम मालूम करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं चीजों को. Formulated, to formulate is to create something, right? That also will not fit in. Compound, we already know. Validity is the only one, and that's the right answer. Smart work इसको कहते हैं. Passage को अच्छे से देखना है. इनफैक्ट पूरे पेपर को, every nook and cranny of the paper has to be scrutinized in order to salvage as many marks as possible. So ये स्मार्ट ट्रिक है, ये एक हैक है. विदाउट रीडिंग द एंटायर पैसेज आप कुछ क्वेश्चन टाइप्स होते हैं जिनको अटेम्प्ट कर सकते हो, जिसमें ये कॉन्टेक्चुअल मीनिंग क्वेश्चंस बिल्कुल एक गारंटी की तरह आएंगे एंड आपको नंबर लेके जाएंगे. ठीक है ना. सो वैलिडिटी का मतलब आई एम होपफुल कि सबको पता होगा, व्हेन समथिंग इज वैलिड इट इज एक्चुअली करेक्ट. ओके, इट इज ट्रू एंड ऑफ कोर्स लॉजिकल, सर्टेनली. ठीक है ना. सो बिना पैसेज पढ़े हमने नंबर ले लिए. Another one from the same, this is also JIPMAT का पेपर, recent पेपर, JIPMAT 2024 का पैसेज है ये. अगेन देखिए, लंबा चौड़ा पैसेज है, not that lengthy. शेक्सपियर के बारे में है, ह्यूमन माइंड के बारे में, whatever. My point again is that this also has a question. Have a look at this. What does the phrase the pale cast of thought mean? I told you it can actually ask you about a single word, or it could give you a phrase and ask you the meaning. Now, pale cast of thought, obviously, आपको थोड़ा सा context में meaning check करना पड़ेगा. So the first thing that we have to do is locate this. कहाँ पे दिया हुआ है ये? चलिए जरा ढूंढते हैं. Here it is in inverted commas. So we have not read the entire passage, and that's perfectly fine. Let's read a few lines above it. It is easy to understand, therefore, why such thinkers fly to the solitude of their own thoughts or the silent companionship of the immortals, and if they care to present their views in prose or verse to the world, that these views take a somber and melancholy setting from the pale cast of thought in which they were engendered. Engendered का मतलब क्या होता है? Created. ठीक है. Now mark the words somber and melancholy. What is melancholy? Melancholy is extremely sad. Somber is also very serious and sad. Okay, so sadness और seriousness के around हमारा कुछ मतलब निकल सकता है. और even the word pale, फीका, pale cast of thoughts, यानी कि there's nothing vibrant, there's nothing positive about these words, right? It would mean something sad. देखते हैं. State of mind during sickness? No, this is too specific. There is no reference to sickness in the passage. Sudden and quick flash of thought? No, it's not about being impromptu or suddenly something clicking you. No. Unhappy and disillusional state of mind. I like this. बिल्कुल हो सकता है, right? Especially because of the catchword, the important keyword, unhappy. Serious and prolonged thinking. Now, this is actually a distractor. Serious works for us. Prolonged thinking might be tempting, but then ध्यान से देखोगे अगर तो sadness is very important. इसीलिए C has to be the answer. Isn't that great? हम directly question को attempt कर रहे हैं without reading the entire passage. ये हम तब करेंगे जब for some or the other reason we're not able to attempt the passage, right? चलो ठीक है, टाइम कम है या पैसेज मुश्किल लग रहा है, whatever. So let's now proceed. अब हम थोड़ी सी बात करेंगे पैराजम्बल्स के ऊपर. Alright. See, whenever we speak of parajumbles, we have two types of parajumbles coming up, right? In non-IPMAT Indore exams, we have parajumbles with options. But in IPMAT Indore, we have parajumbles without options, which is certainly very daunting. and which is very tricky, right? But yeah, since we have around 4 to 5 questions of parajumbles, we cannot afford to leave all of them. 20 नंबर यार उसकी काफी वैल्यू होती है, तो मास्टर करने की हमें कोशिश करना है और अटेम्प्ट उसको करना है व्हेन वी आर वेरी श्योर अबाउट इट. सो आई एम कवरिंग बोथ ऑफ देम. सी पैराजम्बल्स पे प्रॉपर डिस्कशन बाद में कभी करेंगे. I've had some videos in the past on YouTube where I discussed parajumbles in detail, right? If you want that, you'll have to just go through the playlists, you'll have to rummage through the different videos available, and I'm sure you'll find a treatise of parajumbles. Filhal, I would just be focusing on some things like, some quick techniques. क्या करना चाहिए the first time you read? अच्छा, ये कौन सा question है? IIM Bangalore. अब भी जो हुआ IIM Bangalore. Recent paper, latest paper. So I'm bringing all fresh papers, real PYQs for you, right? So आपको क्या करना है? You have to arrange the sentences so that it makes a logical and coherent paragraph. And you have here 4 options also. Okay. Now the first thing is utilizing the options given to us. Now there are 4 options that start with A, and there is one which starts with D. Fine. So a best strategy here would be, if you just read the sentences the normal way and try to logically arrange them, this is not going to work. It will take a lot of time. And apart from that, it doesn't even guarantee you success. Okay. You have to have some techniques. You have to have some strategy. Okay. And this is what I'm telling you. So first of all, you'll have to utilize the options when options are given to you. या तो A से start होगा या फिर D से start होगा. A says it was a moment of triumph, marking the culmination of weeks of hard work. I don't think this should be the opener. Does not look like a good starting. The team worked tirelessly through the night, fueled by coffee and determination. Looks good. I would choose A because D is talking about it was a moment of triumph. We have no context, no background. We just don't understand what you're talking about. So, of course, A. Option C is out. Now, the important trick that I want to tell you is that when you read the sentences, you have to understand the sentences, but even more important is identifying keywords. कुछ keywords होते हैं, कुछ conjunctions होंगे, कुछ prepositions होंगे, right? उन पे बहुत ध्यान देना होगा. कुछ pronouns होंगे. For example, the word finally, despite, it. Okay? So, finally, matlab it should be somewhere at the end. Okay? Finally, as the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, they completed the project. Who is this they? Referring to the team members. तो ये B को बाद में ही रख लेंगे हम. It was a moment of triumph, marking the culmination. Culmination मतलब finally wrapping up, coming to an end. इसको भी end में रखेंगे. Somewhere I think ये D के बाद सही रहेगा. A से start हो जाएगा. And फिर finally आप देखो बचता है C. Despite the setbacks they faced, they never lost sight of their goal. Despite the setbacks, they kept focus. They maintained their focus. तो I think A के बाद में C बहुत बढ़िया जाएगा क्योंकि A is also talking about determination and your C is talking about never losing sight of their goal, being very focused despite the setbacks. So I would say A, C, B, D and B beta is your answer. ठीक है ना? जब उन्होंने अरे पढ़ के तुम्हें समझ में आ जाएगा, but then there can be some questions जहां पे इतना easy नहीं होगा. For example, the next question. Things will not be that easy. This is also from IIM Bangalore 2024. तो चलो ठीक है, इसकी sequence करते हैं arrange. Again, look at the keywords. Despite its potential, VR faces challenges. Okay, high cost, limitation, need for improve this. Virtual reality creates immersive interactive environments that simulate real or imagined worlds, enhancing experiences in gaming, education, and training. It is being used in keywords highlight कर रही हूँ. By providing a sense of presence, VR allows users to explore and interact with 3D places, spaces in ways that traditional media cannot. Now, किससे start होना चाहिए? I have options 2, 3, 4. But then clearly 2 looks like a very, very clear and obvious starting. Why is that so? Because it is introducing virtual reality and is defining. एक और पॉइंट है यहाँ पे, हर जगह वीआर दिया हुआ है, लेकिन यहाँ पे वर्चुअल रियलिटी फुल नेम दिया है और ब्रैकेट में वीआर दिया. So this is also going to give you a very short, I would say, a technique to understand that virtual reality is being introduced here. And usko aage in subsequent sentences we are addressing as VR. So this has to begin. To starting hoga, so C is out and A is out. Right? You need to have that conviction, you need to have that clarity. इसके बाद में हम क्या कर सकते हैं? You know, we can end with one. Why? Because it's talking about the challenges that it faces. The first the first sentence is introducing VR. The next two sentences are telling about its utility, about its benefits. But the last sentence is wrapping it up, highlighting the challenges. Okay? So I think this would be a good enough clue for us. It should end with one and we get our answer. You can actually check before you mark it. 4 is just describing it. And 3 is then also building upon it, that where it is being used. 4 is telling you कि इसमें होता क्या है, and 3 is telling you about its application. And finally, 1 is culminating, wrapping up, telling you that there are a lot of limitations like high costs. Answer is clear, D delta. So जो मैंने आपको ट्रिक बताई है, स्टार्टिंग आपको आइडेंटिफाई करना है एंड कीवर्ड्स पकड़ के चलो, लॉजिक अपने आप समझते आता जाएगा. Okay, so finally this is from IPMAT Indore 2024. Now this time we don't have any options at our disposal, right? So we have nothing to our rescue. We have to decide upon the entire sequence on our own, and I know this might be a little daunting for many of you. It only comes with practice. ठीक है? And plus अभी तो मैं आपको एकदम brief में technique दे रही हूँ. I'm not detailing out the entire parajumbles की strategies and techniques. I'm just giving you the tip of the iceberg right now. Okay. So as I told you, read the sentences and keep on highlighting the keywords. By contrast, in America, it is estimated that even after post-COVID decline, total giving came to almost this much. There are no comparable data on different countries, but one report by this estimates total giving in India. Okay, as you read the sentences, try to identify the theme also. कि भाई बात किस चीज की हो रही है? First two sentences में हम बात क्या करें? We're talking about giving. We are probably talking about charity or philanthropy. Okay, the first one is talking about America, and this is a keyword, by contrast. मतलब इससे पहले there should be about another country where the giving or the charity amounts to what or how much, right? Next ये आ जाएगा comparable data different countries में नहीं पता but India का बता रहे. A strategic sort of giving involving philanthropy professionals, a long-term lens and big ambitions of transforming society is gradually emerging. It differs, of course, between countries. ये वाले पैराजम्बल्स में सेंटेंसेस पढ़ने तो पड़ेंगे. इतना भी शॉर्टकट मत लगाओ कि डूब ही जाओ. ठीक है, पढ़ना तो पड़ेगा. ठीक है, all right. Researchers at the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences put total giving in China at this much. By any measure, however, organized philanthropy across Asia is on a much smaller scale than in the West. आप सबसे पहले आइडेंटिफाई करेंगे स्टार्ट कहां से करेंगे. स्टार्ट डेफिनेटली 3 से होना चाहिए. कुड यू आइडेंटिफाई दैट? 3 से हम स्टार्ट करेंगे. क्यों? क्योंकि ये हमें बता रहा है that we're talking about strategic type of giving, मतलब organized philanthropy through professionals and all that, and how they are actually transforming the society. But एक बहुत बड़ा कैच यहाँ पे कि it differs between countries. Country to country बहुत ज्यादा वेरिएशन है. तो समझ में आ जाएगा आपको कि थर्ड has to be my starting, and it should be followed by country wise variations. It should be there. अब यहाँ पे देखो by contrast in America. Don't you think so? 4 के बाद में 1 आना चाहिए. So I make this pair, I make this connection कि 4 के बाद 1 आएगा. How can I be so sure about it? Because it says by contrast. तो on one end China में कितनी giving है? इतना. By contrast America में it's much more, right? So 4 1. Now we are left with 5 and 2. Well, I think different countries के बारे में बात हो रही है. तो here it says कि कोई comparable data नहीं है. So 3 के बाद में 2 आ जाएगा जो उसको further describe करता है. And finally we can wrap it up with the last statement, statement 5. By any measure, एशिया में जो है philanthropy वो बहुत कम है as compared to the Western countries. So that's the conclusion. And this is your sequence. What do you say? Nice? Are we ready for another question? टेक्निक समझ जाओ. सिर्फ पढ़ना और बस सोचना इसके बाद ये लगा देते हैं फिर ये लगा देते हैं, ऐसे नहीं चलता. कुछ ट्रिक्स जरूरी है. Another question from the latest paper, IPMAT Indore 2024. Give it a good and quick look. As I told you, keep highlighting the keywords, identify the theme, right? And look for the opening sentence, right? Farmers, however, especially during the peak farming season, ignore the warnings of the weather forecast. People from some states of India have demanded that families of those who've been killed by lightning strikes should receive compensation. The Minister of Disaster Management, अब तक theme समझ में आ रही है हमको, right? That we're talking about weather forecast, people dying from lightning, right? Disaster management and all that. The Minister for Disaster Management announced that over itna people have died after being struck by a lightning last year. The minister responded. बहुत important word है responded. क्योंकि जब आप respond कर रहे हैं, there has to be some stimulus. तो पहले तुम ये बताओगे कि कुछ उसके पहले होगा जिसका जवाब मिनिस्टर दे रहे हैं. ठीक है, कुछ क्लेम होगा, कुछ डिमांड होगी, and minister is responding. That pamphlets on the dangers of lightning and precautions to be taken are being distributed in villages. तो देखिए क्या सीक्वेंस हो सकती है. All right, I think 3 is a wonderful starter. It's a great starting or an opening sentence क्योंकि बता रहा है कि इतने लोग lightning बिजली गिरने से मर गए. 3. Now, however क्यों बोल रहे हैं यहाँ पे ये हमको देखना पड़ेगा. अब 2 लगा लेते हैं because it says that people are demanding compensation for the dead. अब आ जाएगा 4 क्योंकि he is responding to the compensation. The compensation claims जब हो रहे हैं तो मिनिस्टर बोल रहे हैं कि हम तो लेकिन लोगों में अवेयरनेस फैला रहे हैं. We are sending, distributing pamphlets, but people don't actually listen to it. So he's saying 4, however, farmers ignore it. That's the right answer. Isn't that wonderful? It's not as difficult as it looks. So parajumbles requires जिसको हम कहते हैं a keen eye, right? An eye for detail. बारीक नजर होना जरूरी है so that you can actually look for those keywords, and those keywords are going to help you in establishing links which are logical links, and thereby you can set your entire sequence. Okay, class? So finally, that's all. I would request you to join our Telegram channel for better notes and some nice inputs on a regular basis. And that's all for today. Thank you so much. I'll be back with some more informative and gripping sessions. Bye-bye. Keep studying. Thank you.